Okay everyone, welcome to the final mission of the main campaign of Populous the Beginning. As always, it's Lovenji here, and I'm just going to walk you through the solar system. So you remember right at the start I said that this would be its sort of mission selection layout, and I'm just demonstrating for you here how each of these little worlds that we saw in that original scaled back view have all panned out into our mission layout. And as you move between each mission, it takes you to the relevant planet. And you can see how the map has actually built this sort of expansive universe, which is very uncommon for an RTS to care that much about the detail that it builds. So, I said that last mission was the last mission, sort of, maybe not really, and this is why. We are now a god, so we have no shaman that can be killed. We will still lose the mission if we lose all our followers. We start with some spells, and we're against all three tribes. Now, all three tribes are not allied in this mission. They will still fight each other, which seems a bit weird when they are rivaling a god. You'd think they'd team up a little bit. There's really not much to this mission, actually. You have to fend off a few early attacks, and then once you've fended off a few early attacks, it's pretty much the game from there. You start with a sizable tribe, a pretty poor population. The Dakini and the Chumara will attack you a couple of times, while the Matak will build huts close to yours, and that's all they do. And then over the duration of the mission, you will occasionally have to deal with a cast Angel of Death. The challenge from the mission comes from your poor starting mana, of which you could do something better than what I did. Instead of building extra huts, you have a population of about 50 men. You could get all those men straight into huts for more mana regeneration. But you have to use the spells it starts you with to defend against these pretty large attacks. Now, I'm actually not a fan, and you'll see it soon, of the Blast spell when you're in God form. As you can see from the God form, we don't actually have to worry about our spell range. We can just cast a spell wherever we want. So this mission really isn't challenging. It's not... I've always viewed it as it's not meant to be a challenging mission. It's not meant to be a mission that is considered the final mission of the game. I think this is like a bonus mission. This is a reward for getting to the end of the game. As you can see, as the Chumara have retreated through the Matak base, the Matak are now fighting them. And this is what I mean by the AI are not allied. You'd really think they would be if they were trying to take down a literal god. But we're just dealing with the second of the Dakini attacks. And yeah, I unleashed the two firestorms pretty quickly just to help whittle down their population, as they're the main aggressive tribe. And they are also the one that casts the first Angel of Death. So I tried to slow them down in that process. So, my strategy for this mission is pretty similar to my strategy for most missions, especially in this mission, because you can't physically lose your which means I don't get any shaman deaths in this mission. Payment. So we're going to be defending against the attacks and stabilizing our tribe to the point where we have a good population. Once we have a good population, we'll have the mana regeneration to terraform and remove all these physical platforms. And then we just build up our mana and unleash hell upon the enemy. This is what I mean by how much I hate the Fire Blast. No matter what I do, I cannot get that shaman into the water or anywhere dangerous. In fact, I launch her directly to her cast location, but I get an amazing trick shot in revenge, bouncing her off the tower into her own tornado. It would have been an amazing trick shot if that was what I was intending to do, but I was not. So again, the biggest challenge in this mission is just the early game, getting the population up to be able to hold your ground. Some people do it with manpower, some people do it with an inordinate amount of blasting. But we're getting close to 70, sort of 80 population, and it's looking good for us. Normally, if I can reach this point in the game with my tribe still intact, as you can see, I'm speeding up. So if I can reach this point with my tribe still intact, I consider this a success. So the main reason we're speeding up here is this is the terraforming segment. I do nothing here but charge erode spells and sink all the platforms into my base. You can do what I've suggested in middle ground and leave one of these platforms open so that the others walk through a shaman's tribe. If you're going to do that, I recommend you leave the Matak one connected, because the Matak attack you the least, if at all. I don't remember ever being attacked by the Matak in all the times I played this mission. So the reason I'm sinking that little bit of land there is purely for what you've seen there. The enemy shaman goes and stands there and then unleashes a swarm of swarms. Now, for a majority of this mission, and I don't realise it, although I've stopped the speed up in edit, I've actually got the game speed set to 2. So everything's happening quicker than it normally would. I didn't realise that's why my mission time was so good for this mission, because it normally takes me quite a while to do it. But you'll find that most of the destruction will happen in ×2 speed. So those of you who aren't familiar, Shift Plus and Shift Minus are the keys that control your game speed. So you can hit Shift Plus and go up to game speed 5. Or you can hit Shift Minus and go all the way back down to game speed 1. There is no slower speed than the base game speed. However, if you put in cheats, there is that cap is removed, and you can go into, I think it's something like +12 game speed. It's something ridiculous. I don't think there's a use for it. Here's another display of how bad I am at aiming the blast spell. I give up trying to hit the warriors and just cast on the ground. You can't really do that on the PlayStation version because the blast was significantly nerfed on account of you getting infinite of them, which was to help you control your shaman and keep the shaman alive. But yeah, they nerfed Blast to help balance that out. So, all we're doing now is exactly all we've done for the rest of the other endgame missions. Charge all our mana and get ready to unload Hell. The difference is you can execute this slightly quicker, you don't have to worry about your shaman's health or safety, you don't need to position her in any particular way, you just get to charge the spells and let it all fly out. There's been another Angel of Death cast. This is what I mean, the tribes will just take pot shots at you with Angels of Death. Particularly now that they can't reach you. If you're looking for something slightly more interactive or with slightly more action, like I said before, you can sync all of the bridges except the one connecting you to the Matak, and watch as the Dakini and the Chumara walk through each other and the Matak to try to attack you. Only those two tribes claim aggression. Honestly, I don't know why the Matak are so passive in this mission. It almost seems like the other two tribes are encouraged or hell-bent on stopping you and, you know, removing your godlyhood and wiping your tribe out as a last-ditch attempt. And the Matak are just kind of like, well, maybe if we're nice to her, she won't kill us. Which, of course, you know is not the case. And that's when I noticed the game speed. But with the Chumara all but effectively wiped out, and the Dakini all but effectively wiped out, it's time to just build our mana, clear up the map a little bit. This is my least favourite bit about the mission. You could do it with an army, but when they have these couple of units left, they don't go into surrender mode, they just stand around. Back up to game speed 5 while we charge our mana. So these, the difference between the game speed and the editing speed, you can probably tell very easily from a consumer perspective. Things like the sound effects and the music are much faster when I'm doing an edited speed up. But yeah, the in-game speed up is I do have to play at that speed, so I don't consider using that necessarily editing out the difficulty of the mission, because you have to play at whatever game speed you've got. There's been many missions I've actually lost because I'm at game speed 5, not paying attention, and suddenly I'm getting really, really heavily attacked. But what I do forget, as I start casting all these spells, is that I'm on game speed 5. So from a consumer perspective, you get to watch super speed tornadoes tear everything apart. So I'm thinking about whether I just want to win the game here, and I decide to. I cast the erode spell slightly too high to get some proper sinking. I was hoping for a lot more, so I had to augment that sinking quote-unquote damage with the flatten spell, which of course cast on water does some wonderful things, like that. Notice again how I've said before I didn't get kill credit for that shaman kill at all. And now, yes, this is just about hell has been unleashed. How do we close out the mission? We just throw everything we've got. That little trick of fire warriors in huts is my least favourite trick in the game from a multiplayer perspective, because I keep forgetting you can do it. With the shaman being such a powerful unit, shaman deaths in multiplayer really, really hurt you. Players will try to pick off each other's shamans and then really take advantage of that window where she's dead and waiting to respawn. It's quite an impressive feat. I do recommend going and maybe watching a multiplayer channel, seeing how they play. It's very, very interesting. So I create the land bridge and the swamp in case they do enter surrender mode, and now we're just regenerating mana again. See, for example, the Dakini are now in surrendering, and they're going to run into the swamp, which is what I was hoping for. Saves me having to individually individually cast lightning on each and every one of their followers. I get to just let them run into their own death. And I'm hoping to do the same with the remaining tribes as well. The Angel of Death is going to slowly whittle away at their population, and that should leave them with a low enough population that they want to surrender. In that case, the Angel of Death has now finished off the Chumara, leaving only the Matak, the most peaceful of the three, to face their fate. And as you can see, the Matak are now running towards their own demise. So that concludes Populous the beginning. Everything that follows after this mission completion is going to be the credits, and I'm going to allow the credits to roll, and I will not be talking over them. So if you're not interested in the credits, by all means, this is the end of the video, but please do stick around and watch and look at the wonderful people who actually made this game. It's one of the reasons why I'm leaving the credits in there. As always, has been Lovenji. Thanks for joining me on this series. Next up will be Populous the Beginning Undiscovered Worlds, the official expansion to the game. Bye for now.
Nocturne.